Los Angeles Lakers have a big problem with their hands, and it's not just your typical problem, such as their defense and their effort. Their problems go a little bit deeper than a lot of people like to realize, like to see. Because a lot of people like to look at them on paper and look at the Lakers and be like, oh, they are 22 and 11, 3 seed in the West, and everything looks like going fine and dandy. But little do they know, the Lakers' problem starts at one person, and that person is Luka Doncic. And yes, it's hard to really put all the Lakers' problems onto one person, but I like to pinpoint the fact that Luka isn't doing what Luka usually does in a typical season basis. Because as of right now, I understand his count numbers look great. He's averaging 33.7 points per game, 8.7 assists, and 8.1 rebounds. But it goes a lot deeper than just his counting stats. Obviously, Luka will pull up numbers no matter what the situation is. Because at the end of the day, he is one of the greatest offensive players we've ever seen in this league. But the problem with Luka doesn't come from his scoring ability or his ability to create plays. It's the fact that he is a stagnated player and he has kind of hit his ceiling. What I mean by that is that when Luka Doncic has the ball, majority of the offense is just sitting around and waiting to end up getting swung the ball towards the end of the shot clock. Because on the day he's gonna dribble, top of the key, high pick and roll with Ayton, and then a kick out if the isolation isn't working. So the offense gets really boring really fast, and teams start to pick up on it really quickly. Because it's really easy to guard a team that's really predicated on isolations. The Lakers have won games lately off the simple fact that LeBron James has been the primary playmaker outside of Luka. With Luka having his normal isolation, the Lakers are going more into sets, more into plays, a more organized offense, and the Lakers' offense looks a lot better. I understand the Lakers' biggest problem going into the season and until now has been their defense, but their offense hasn't looked as fluid as we thought it was. Yes, although Luka is averaging damn near 34 points per game, he is shooting a near career low 32% from 3, and up until last night, he was at 29%. It has gone up, yes, but he's been shooting so poorly from 3 that any decent night will end up boosting it up. He has scored 10 out of his 34 points on a nightly basis at the free throw line, but even then, it's hard to rely on that. His defensive effort has been the biggest gripe in his career, and it'll never get better. That is something that we'll have to live with, the fact that Luka Doncic will never be an above-average defender. And add that on top of the fact the Lakers star lineup of Luka, Reeves, LeBron, Rui, and Ayton, which is 5 players who are negative defenders, it is a recipe for disaster. And on top of that, the Lakers starters are negative 17 when they are on the court together. This is what happens when 5 players on the court aren't positive defenders, and it will lead to them be starting games down 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 points. As we saw in the last game against the Grizzlies, the Lakers were down at 15 or more points for the majority of that game, and they had to come storming back, as they always do over and over again, with small changes to our starting lineup. And yes, I know that Rui and Reeves are both out, so it isn't the greatest example, but it just proves to show you the Lakers always start games down. And the reason why I like to believe Lakers start games down so much is because yes, Luka is leading the league in first quarter points scored, and in points scored in one half. It could only go so far because Lakers start games down so much because of that fact. No one's really in rhythm outside of Luka, so he decides to go get his own and figure out everyone else later into the offense. And although yes, it might work in some games, but more games than not, you find yourself in a hole. And by the time the offense starts getting rolling, it's near the end of the third quarter, so now you have 1 quarter to finish off this comeback, and 9 times out of 10, and although the Lakers do close out games, they are 11-0 in clutch game situations, that could only be sustainable. That can't be sustainable through an 82-game season. That is shown year in, year out, that you need a offense that can gel well together. The Luka and LeBron fit has not looked well. I'm not going to lie to you, but also I like to give it a little benefit of the doubt. Because realistically speaking, it has only been about 2 to 2.5 months of Luka and LeBron playing together. LeBron missed the first month of the season, and he missed a good chunk after a trade deadline last year. So give or take, it's been about 2.5 months of LeBron and Luka playing together, so there's still more growing pains. But on a game in, game out basis, we will see them get better and better throughout the year. But will they be good enough to be a contending team? No, they will not. This Lakers team, as equipped right now, is not sustainable for the Luka Doncic type of offense. It's not similar to the team that he had back out there in Dallas in the 2024 season when they made the finals. Because at the end of the day, they had good shooters, good defenders, and athletic wings that could really help Luka on a nightly basis, and some fake shooting nets out of PJ Washington, who shot damn near 50% from the corner threes against the Oklahoma City Thunder in that one playoff series. But that could only take you so far. This Lakers team that doesn't have great defenders outside of Marcus Smart and Jared Vanderbilt, but even then Vando can get played off the court at times, but JJ Redick has been using him in ways where Vando can actually be sustainable on the court, whether that'll be an on-ball screener, an off-ball screener, or just an overall crasher when it comes to getting rebounds. So teams can't really sag off of him if he's involved in plays. When he's the one initiating plays in the horn set, it makes Vanderbilt more able to play, which helps the Lakers on the defensive end a lot. And we have seen it time in and time out of the season. When Vanderbilt plays, the Lakers have looked a lot better. I don't know why he was completely iced out of the lineup. And yes, Vando isn't the same Vando that he was back in 2023, but at least it'll be some sustainable of defense on the court. When you have Rui, who has no clue what the fuck is going on the defensive end, same thing with DeAndre Ayton. Ayton's only a decent defender when he's engaged in the offensive end, and when Luka Doncic is hogging the ball some games, Ayton can only put up 3 shots and a half. He won't be engaged on defensive end. He's not grabbing that many rebounds, and there's games where he ends with 6 rebounds as the only capable center on the team. It's really unexcusable, and at the same time, same goes for Hachimura. When there's games where he ends with 2 to 3 shots, how do you expect a guy like him who averages 10 to 15 points a game to really get going, taking only 2 to 3 shots? It's because Luka really stagnates that offense. Everything goes back to Luka. And at the end of the day, I don't blame him for this. Luka is one of the greatest players we've seen in the offense and in our generation, one of the greatest players in the 2020s. But at the end of the day, he has his flaws, and his flaws are really starting to show. Because throughout the years, you can see every single season, he has looked a step slower. And yes, I am not saying that, we have to go ahead and trade all our assets right now, make a win now trade. I'm saying that you have to try to do your best to capitalize on an opportunity for Luka and LeBron to win a championship instead of worrying about what happens 2-3 years down the line after LeBron leaves. At the end of the day, you can't guarantee that Luka will be on this team by 2030. So why wait 2 to 3 years to start making moves? Why wait until 2027 to see if you can get Jokic, to see if you can get Giannis, just for both of them to re-sign the team that they're currently on? It makes no sense to be so focused on the future when you have a team ready to win now, and without having to give up all your assets. All you need is a point of attack defender. And I know since the season started, the Lakers have been clawing and praying and prying for a point of attack defender, but for some reason they can't get it done. It's been rumored since last year they are looking for a POA, but they cannot get one because Rob Pelinka is not willing to make necessary changes to this team. Rui Hachimura, as much as I love to hate you, and as much as a great offensive player you are, you just don't fit this team at all. You'll fit some other team in the NBA right now, but that's not the Los Angeles Lakers. Your defensive presence does not exist. Your ability to shoot has been fantastic this year, shooting 45% and above from the corner threes this year. But at the end of the day, we need more. We need more than you being able that if you don't take more than 4 to 5 shots and a half, that you're completely out of rhythm. And yes, I know we have won the most games when you've scored double-digit points. Because then again, we're so reliant on just outscoring our opponents that when it comes to games where we can't score, we get blown out. We have a negative point differential as a top 3 seed in the Western Conference. Do you know how ridiculous that is? A team that is 22-11, 11 games over 500 isn't positive. Want to know why? Let me tell you why. 20-point loss to the Hawks, 29-point loss to the Thunder, 17-point loss to the Suns, 21-point loss to the Celtics, 13-point loss to the Spurs, 15-point loss to the Clippers, 24-point loss to the Suns, 23-point loss to the Rockets, and a 22-point loss to the Pistons. All 11 of the Lakers' losses have been by 10 or more points, and they have won 11 out of their 10 games by less than 10 points. What does that tell you? The Lakers have to really rely on their offense, and in these games, they have barely cracked 100 points, and those are the ones where we end up losing. We've won games 143 to 135 in regulation. In regulation, the Lakers have to put up 130 to 140 to win games. That is not sustainable in an 82 game season. On top of that, in the playoffs, the defense has been really lackluster, and in games where Luka struggles, the Lakers really struggle too. A lot of people like to pinpoint all the problems onto LeBron, because Lakers started off so good without LeBron, but that first 15 game stretch had to be some of the fakest basketball I've seen on this Laker team. Because like I said, we are winning games scoring 120 to 130, which is not sustainable, with Reeves averaging damn near 30 points per game and Luka averaging damn near 40. That just isn't a consistent way to win basketball, and people have to realize that. This Los Angeles Lakers team, as currently constructed, is not a championship contender team as of this season. The pieces aren't in the right places, and teams are starting to realize that. The Lakers almost lost to the Memphis Grizzlies on Sunday night when Ja Morant didn't play. Ja was not playing. The Lakers, yes, they were down 2 starters, but LeBron and Luka should be enough to fully secure this win and not win by only 6 points. The Lakers this season, no matter what they do, whether if Luka doesn't improve from the 3-point line, shows a little more effort on defense, the offense looks even more fluid than it does now, they still aren't a championship contending team, and I have learned to live with that. And people have to notice that too. This team, with Luka as their best player, has a ceiling. And until Rob puts around the right players around Luka, this team will never be a championship contending team. And I have learned to be okay with that. Up until Rob wakes up and realizes he has a window now to capitalize on Luka and LeBron window, which will probably never happen because he's so dictated and so fixated on the idea of not focusing on the LeBron era and only focusing on the Luka era. And that's a sad truth of this Laker team. So as long as it's Luka and LeBron, don't expect a championship contending team, because Rob Pelinka won't be willing to make necessary moves to capitalize on this window and the window for the future. He's only focused on the window for the future, and that is going to be an issue going forward. And before I let you guys go, I'll let you guys to subscribe to my second channel, linked in the description down below. It's Joey Uncut. Anything that's non-basketball related will be on that channel. I'll be live streaming on that channel almost every single day. Subscribe and put noties on. And while you're at it, my TikTok's down there too. Give it a follow while you're there. And as always, go hard on them dudes. Salute.